Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us. If you've been joining us all day at the TIFF Kids Industry Forum, it's been a really wonderful day so far, and I'm really thrilled that you can be here for our closing keynote, The Power of Inclusive Filmmaking, with Genevieve Clay Smith. Genevieve is an award-winning writer and director. She is co-founder of the not-for-profit organization Bus Stop Films, which provides filmmaking workshops for people with intellectual disabilities in partnership with the Australian Film, Television, and Radio School. For her efforts, she's been named the Young Australian of the Year in her state of New South Wales, and Clay Smith is also the winner of an Australian Directors Guild Award and is currently in development on her first feature film, Baby Cat. Her work has been screened at the United Nations and broadcast internationally. Inclusion Makes the World More Vibrant is her latest film, which is screening here at the TIFF Kids International Film Festival. We are thrilled to have such an impressive young woman here with us today to celebrate International Women's Day. Please join me in welcoming Genevieve Clay Smith.
Oh, thanks so much, Lynn, for that lovely introduction. Hello, everybody. It is such a pleasure to be here. I was so excited to be able to come here to Canada during winter because I have never seen snowfall. I am from Australia. I have only ever been to the snow once when I was a kid, like about 6 hours away from where I live. I got snow in my pants. I didn't see the snowfall. I had a bad experience. So I was so excited when I was coming here because I might see snowfall. Lo and behold, I did. I saw like little flakes of snow on my first day here. And it probably means nothing to you guys. You're probably like, yeah, just a bit of snow. But I had my face up against the window. My nose was flat against it, going, wow, this place is magical. So I'm really, really happy to be here and really excited to share about my journey with Bus Stop Films and inclusive filmmaking. So the journey for me really began 10 years ago. I was a 19-year-old student filmmaker, and I learnt a really important lesson, and that lesson was that we all have the opportunity to make a difference through being inclusive. Now, the word inclusion and diversity is thrown around a lot these days. Diversity for me is a fact of life. We're all diverse, and in fact, here in Toronto, you're an incredibly diverse city. You're one of the most diverse cities in the world, which is so exciting. And diversity equals strength. When we have diverse brains around a board table, diverse brains collaborating, people with different experiences, life experiences, we get more innovative ideas and different approaches to solving problems. Inclusion is the gateway to making that happen. Inclusion is an attitude. It is the open arms towards somebody that might be different to yourself, saying, let's collaborate, let's do this together. Unfortunately, inclusion kind of gets this airy-fairy, lovey-dovey kind of persona around it, but actually it's an incredibly powerful tool for social change. And I discovered that at the age of 19 as a filmmaker, a student filmmaker. I had been given an incredible opportunity to make a documentary for an organisation called Down Syndrome New South Wales. They are the peak body for advocacy for people and their families with Down syndrome in my state of New South Wales. And I had the privilege of being able to spend 18 months with 6 families and their sons and daughters with Down syndrome, documenting a program they were going through called the Up, Up and Away project. And what that project was designed to do was to help those people with Down syndrome achieve their dreams and goals through creating a circle of support around them. And what a circle of support looked like, well, it's a bit like a personal board. It was a bunch of people from different areas of that person's life. It could be their hairdresser, the greengrocer up the road, an auntie and uncle, siblings, just people in their life, in their network that would agree to come and meet regularly, whether it be once a fortnight, once a month, to listen to that person and listen up to their dreams and goals and think to themselves, brainstorm, how can I, in my own capacity, in my sphere of influence, help this person to achieve their dreams and goals through what I have in my hands? And so I bore witness to this incredible social phenomenon of the circle of support and saw people achieving their dreams and goals simply through the generosity of people in their lives giving opportunities. So for instance, one man in the documentary, his dream was to go to work every day in the city and wear a suit and tie like all the other businessmen. That was his dream. Someone in his circle of support knew the HR director at a big accounting firm in the city of Sydney. And so he kind of thought, well, why not? Why not just go and have the conversation? So off this circle of support member went to talk to this HR director. The HR director went, yeah, you know what? Why not? Let me just talk to the CEO. Went up to the CEO. That guy, Trent, ended up getting his job in the city, wearing his suit and tie to work every day, simply because people had an open heart, an inclusive heart, and thought, why not? Let's give it a go. They didn't prejudge what Trent was capable of. They just thought, let's open the door and see what happens. And I began thinking to myself, well, wow, this is an amazing way to make a difference. I learnt that making a difference doesn't just have to look like giving to charity monetarily. Making a difference doesn't just have to look like perhaps building a well in a third world country. We kind of get these stereotyped ideas about what making a difference is. Making a difference could actually look like teaching someone how to make spaghetti bolognese. And that's actually a really big difference. That's a big thing. So I thought to myself, well, what do I have in my hands? I had a camera. I was with these guys a lot, and they were really interested in the camera. And so I thought to myself, well, I'll just start doing some little workshops off the side of making this documentary and just teach some guys how to make their own films and how the camera works and the on button, how to frame up a shot. And this is me with one of the participants during a trip to Melbourne. And, you know, I just kind of did it because I thought, well, why not? I was witnessing other people just kind of opening up their lives, teaching others how to cook, how to clean, how to travel on the train, how to go to the shops and do the shopping. I had a camera. I could teach people how to use it. About halfway through making this documentary, Down Syndrome New South Wales told me that a new participant was entering the documentary, and they wanted to see if this new participant would be good talent to include in the doco, because I'd already been kind of going halfway, and they thought, oh, will it be jarring to have a new person start? Why don't you go and meet him and make a call? So I thought, sure, why not? So off I went to meet a really amazing guy, Jared O'Dwyer. This is me and Jared. Now, when I first met Jared, I knew for certain that he was going to be awesome documentary talent, and he had to be in this documentary. Because when he answered the door to me on our very first meeting, he didn't answer the door and say, hey, how you going, come on in. No. He said to me, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon. And all the rest. He knew the entire balcony scene of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. And that was not the end of it. He knew so much. He had literally hundreds of monologues memorized from movies like The Lion King, from TV shows like Frank Spencer. Bold and Beautiful was also a part of his film viewing. And I just thought to myself, wow, this guy has extraordinary talent. He absolutely should be in the movies. His goal was to become an actor. That's why he had joined the Up, Up and Away program. That's why he wanted to create a circle of support in his life to become an actor. And I remember leaving Jared's house that day, and I felt really elated because I'd had Shakespeare recited to me pretty much all afternoon, which is pretty cool, but also extremely frustrated because even as a young filmmaker, I knew that the film industry was going to be a difficult beast to tackle. I saw no representation of disability on our television. I saw no representation of disability in our films. There was absolutely no pathways for people with a disability to get involved in making the films. And then when I thought about it even more, I actually got really angry. I got angry at our film industry, the industry that tells our stories, the stories that we share and engage with every day were not reflecting the whole of our community. They were missing threads in the incredible tapestry of our society. There were holes in our storytelling. And I got angry. That's not fair. And certainly it's not fair that our industry would have low expectations of these guys, people like Jared. So, the low expectations being the barrier to inclusion, not even giving someone an opportunity before, seeing what they're capable of. That robs someone of their potential to fully rise to the occasion. I wanted to see change, and I decided to myself, well, what can I do? I have in my hand a camera, a vision to be a filmmaker. Maybe this is my opportunity to make a difference. Maybe I can use what I have in my hands to make a difference. And so at this point, I was entering into my final year of university, and I needed to make a short film. And so I decided to cast Jared as the lead role in a short film. But then I also decided to open up my film set and, give people with a disability the opportunity to help make the film with us. I put out a call. I said, hey, if you've got a disability and you've always been interested in filmmaking but haven't had the opportunity, let me know. Come and make a film with me. I got 5 interested people. I held a workshop in a friend's living room. We all got together, made the film. People with and without disabilities made up the crew. Jared starred in the lead role. And in 2009, that film, Be My Brother, ended up winning Australia's largest short film festival, Tropfest. This festival is like the Oscars of short films in Australia. We won in front of a crowd of about 300,000 people. It was also televised. Jared and I were on the front page of pretty much every newspaper. We were in all the magazines. We had radio interviews, TV interviews coming out of our ears. It was amazing. Not only did we win Best Film, but Jared won Best Actor at this festival. And we had made it inclusively. We had made this film inclusively. We smashed some stereotypes in that moment. A lot of times, people are exclusive towards people with disabilities because there's prejudice and stigma. Oh, it's going to be too hard. Oh, it'll slow us down. Oh, it'll compromise on quality. None of that happened on our film. We actually finished an hour early ahead of schedule. Being inclusive does not slow you down. Sure, you need to think about a few extra things like accessibility. You need to kind of go a bit further and think about a few extra things, but it just becomes second nature. And in fact, thinking accessibly should be second nature to us. We should all be living in an accessible world, in a world where everybody can equally participate. It didn't slow us down, and it absolutely did not compromise on quality. Being inclusive was an amazing opportunity to create a project, but also make a statement to the larger film industry and say, actually, we can do this. We can open up our sets and be inclusive. So, that sent me on a new journey. I had a vision. I wanted to create opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities that would not usually get the opportunity to study a film studies course. I wanted to give them that opportunity. I just thought our film industry needed it. I thought to myself, the reason why we tell stories, the reason why human beings started telling stories was for important reasons. Storytelling is the way in which we share and pass on culture. Storytelling is the way in which we warn and educate kids. So I wanted to make sure we were telling stories that advocated for inclusion. Not on the nose. We just wanted to do it in a way that just showed another way of life and showed that as a normal way of life. And so we began. I went to a community college and asked them if they would be interested in incubating this idea I had of a film studies course for people with intellectual disabilities. They said yes. And it has been an incredible journey ever since. We have been doing this now for about 7 years, doing accessible film studies, and we have an incredible partnership with the Australian Film, Television, Radio School. We have 40 students enrolled to study with us this year. And we began to realize something else, which was really interesting. Doing the film studies course ended up showing to us that it wasn't just a nice thing to do. It wasn't just a nice thing to do. People's lives were actually being transformed. So we, both myself running the classes, the support workers in the class, parents and students, were beginning to see that the film studies course was helping people with their reading and writing, their English skills, their communication skills. It was also helping with social skills and things like work-ready skills as well. We were having a really profound transformational impact in the lives of the students we were working with. And not only were we studying the filmmaking, we were making films together as well. So it has been a desire of mine to bridge the disability arts community and the mainstream. And we were bringing mentors from the film industry into our classes to make films with our students. So mentoring the students on film sets that we were, our own film projects that we were making in class. So that was also having a really profound impact. Because of that, we were making films of very good quality as well. So students were making films that were then able to go out into the film festival circuit, like here at TIFF, and be a part of film festivals as filmmakers. So I'm going to share with you now a short film that we made. It's been one of our most successful short films that we made inclusively through our film studies course a few years ago. It's called The Interviewer, and I'm going to show a little bit of a behind-the-scenes clip of how the students made it.
Tom's Howe. I'm here for the interview with Mr. Dexter.
Yeah, sure thing. Just take a seat and he'll be out in a minute.
Relaxation session 32. Shake off your nervous energy and think about your special place of calm and let all anxiety waste away. Reach out now and touch something in your special place. Breathe in positivity and breathe out all that nasty anxiety. See a light and touch it.
Hi, Mr. How is it?
Yes?
Great. I'm James. Please come with me for your interview. 9 a.m.? You have the interview at 9 a.m., is it?
Yes.
Great. Come with me for your interview. After you. You sit here, and I sit here. As your boss. Nervous? It can be scary going for a new job. What or Coke?
Water, thanks.
Are you sure?
Water's fine.
Coke's better. Cheers. So, you like movies?
Yeah.
Star Wars. You like Star Wars? Harry Potter.
Not so much, no.
What about Voldemort? I love Voldemort. Harry Potter is dead. No. Silence, stupid girl. Harry Potter is dead. From this day forth, you put your faith in me.
I'm just not into it.
I'm not finished yet. Harry Potter is dead.
So the interview's in here.
Yes, correct.
It's just that it's gone 10 past.
Great. We'll get straight into it.
Isn't someone else going to be joining us? Someone going to be interviewing me?
Just me. I noticed you're dressed very conservatively.
It's an interview.
There's a bit of colour.
Okay, thank you.
I went through your resume. You're applying for a solicitor role.
Yes.
Why not senior associate?
Sorry?
See that painting? Like it?
Yep.
That's on original Dexter. I have a few of them hanging around the joint. So, you've come from Le Monde, across the road. They're a great firm. What made you want to change?
I didn't think the direction of the company was somewhere I wanted to stay. In the long run.
More detail.
I didn't think they did much for the community. They're just a money-making machine.
We make a lot of money here too.
But your pro bono department has an amazing reputation, particularly with startups. At Le Monde, they rejected a lot of great-looking not-for-profits because they only dealt with more established organizations.
I like that answer. You're the first person whose answer I've liked. You do know there's a partner position going here?
No, I didn't.
You're the type to make it there. I can tell. I've seen so many over the years. You know how long I've been here.
How long have you been here?
Almost 11 years. I started when I was 16.
I have a lot to learn from you.
Including your taste in film.
James, again.
Is that his file? I need that.
Poor Dexter, I'm sorry about this.
No.
James, you cannot keep taking files off my desk. I've been looking everywhere for this. This is not a game.
You'll be glad I did take them?
See that trolley? You see that, James?
Yes.
That is what you're supposed to do. Take around the tea and coffee and do the photocopying, not role play with my interviewees.
Shall we continue in my office?
James. You asked me before about why I left Le Monde.
Yes.
So why did you ask me that?
Because your resume said a senior associate. And you're going for a lister role here. It didn't make sense. I thought you might have been fired.
And what did you think of my answer when I told you?
I liked it. You're willing to get paid less here. So you can help people. You're not in it for the money. You are more than just money. He's genuine, you know. I could tell he's not trying to be a big shot.
James, stop.
Why this is all I'm good for, right?
Come and sit here. Sit down. I want you to ask the rest of your questions. I'm very impressed with what you've written here. I want you to teach me how it's done.
You mean that?
Hmm.
The next question I had was, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, I believe in commitment. I'd want to see myself still here, managing cases in your pro bono department. That's my goal.
Mr. Joe White, is it?
Yeah, that's me.
James Dexter, would you please come with me for your interview?
Yeah.
We're after you. Mr. White, this is Thomas Howe, one of our partners who'll be interviewing with me today.
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise.
Take a seat. Would you like a water or Coke?
Water.
Joe, you know how long I've been here.
How long?
Coming up to 15 years. Needless to say, I know a thing or two.
My name's Libby Banks, which my actual name's Elizabeth Banks, but my preferred name is Libby.
Let her show me first before I do it.
Right. I did documentary with Sarah Rudolph. I did continuity with Miller, and I actually got involved a lot with other bits, like sound and with the slate. Take 5.
You can see the full making of the interviewer on our YouTube page at Bus Stop on YouTube. That was Libby, and she did continuity and documentary camera as well, and clapper, so she rotated around a few different roles, but had been working with her other 11 peers with an intellectual disability for about 10 months towards the lead up to making this film and being on set, and then did another 10-week term after that of post-production workshops to see the film come together through our program. And so, you know, we've had some pretty awesome statistics come out of our program. And I'm just going to pull out a couple, the top two. 96% of our parents and carers agree that our program has helped the students develop work-ready skills. 100% of participants have said that the challenges that they face in our program, because we don't make it easy, our program is like a proper film studies program. You know, we have high expectations of the students. They must be on time. They must show up to set on time. They must work as a team. They must collaborate. They must have professional behaviour at all times in class. And so those kinds of challenges, they said, actually help them grow personally. Just a couple of, a couple of awesome quotes that has been pulled out through our research. This is from a particular parent. While being involved in the Bus Stop Films course, her confidence in addressing people socially in the workplace has greatly improved. And we hear so much feedback about how the confidence of our students improve and how their work-ready skills improve. And a lot of our students go out and they're able to get work and jobs of choice, which is really great. Or make a decision and say, you know what, I'm raising the bar of my self-expectations. I don't like the job I'm in currently. I want to do something else. I feel like I can do something else. And their growth through our program enables them to speak up and say that, and then also encourages the family around them to go, all right, let's do this together. Let's support you to get a job of choice. And we've had many students go on to get really awesome work, some in the film industry, some not, some in some really awesome other work in offices. One of our students works at an incredible radio station, for instance. And of course, the students that give us feedback, the feedback always warms my heart. And this particular quote I love, it is my passion, my motivation, my interest, and film really intrigues me. I want to keep learning more. And we make our program stimulating. We have 16 modules that we teach, and that's growing. Our curriculum is growing. You know, we want to continue to help develop our students and educate and inspire them and nourish their hunger for learning. I'm going to give you a little insight into our classes right now through a little clip. Today we have our first classes for the year starting, and it's really exciting. This is the biggest intake of bus stop students we've ever had. We have our beginners and intermediate classes starting this morning, and then we're going to have our film club start next week.
I love to learn do filmmaking, so I get a job. It's interesting for me.
Just because it's awesome. Genevieve is a great tutor. She gives us practical advice. Yeah, quiz performance. This is part of what's in the frame.
Cool. So colour is used in film to create meaning. Hands up if you've got the 4 elements down.
Today we met Abby from Play to Call Home. Meeting her today was an incredible experience.
W and the actor, they will help us. It also encouraged me, and support me how the filmmaking work.
Yeah, you just need to feel really great in yourself and really kind of neutral. So you're like a blank canvas, and so you can make it anything you want.
We're really excited to be doing an intermediate course at AFTRS with Bus Stop this year. We've got some awesome new students who are just so talented.
We learned about different shots, like close-ups and mid-shot, and it's interesting. I never thought about the way they have different shots before.
Yeah, actuality, there's actuality in March the Penguin.
When I was a kid, I used to watch Back to the Future, and I always look at behind the scenes. I love all those moments, and now I'm learning about them.
We learnt about a lot of things, and it's been really fun so far.
All up, there's about 39 students that have enrolled with Bus Stop to study here at AFTRS this year, so we're in for a big, exciting year.
Do you have your pocket money? Nobody's telling me what to do with my money. That money, it's for emergencies only. Sonia, you can't trust anyone. Sonia, 5 o'clock at the hospital, please. No distractions.
All you disabled people are supposed to leave at 4 p.m.
Want a battle?
That's it, I'm getting security.
I'll pay you.
Yeah! Yeah! Bam! Ha! You got it. You got it, girl.
Roll sound.
You heard the man. Roll sound.
So we are we've worked within the refugee community as well, doing inclusive filmmaking, and we've moved just from disability to other marginalised members of the community as well. We've also done work in the mental health space. We've done some mental health projects too, and recently we went to Japan and did a project there. So as a filmmaker myself in my own right, I'm always looking for opportunities to be inclusive, and I actually, through my creative production company that, Bus Stop is my love project, and then I have another business that actually pays the bills. Through that business, we won the opportunity to create a commercial project in Japan, and we went, we're going to do it inclusively. I held a workshop for 6 interested people with Down syndrome through a partnership with the Down Syndrome Society of Japan. We held the workshop, we brought those 6 on set and had a blast. They loved it. And we put them in charge of the clapper. They rotated through, so we had 2 on set at a time, and they switched, they alternated. And we had a great time. And it showed that our program could translate cross-culturally. They enjoyed it, they had a fun time, they loved what they were learning about, and they had a blast on set. And it was such a statement to the rest of the crew about what we were doing. We did it. If we can do it in Japan, we can do it anywhere. Our films also get into awesome festivals like TIFF, and we get to send our students to them to be advocates. So Joni is with me here. She's going to jump up on stage a little later for a Q&A. But we have literally been able to send students all around the world. To the United States, we've been able to send them to Moscow. We've also had students go all over Australia representing the films at film festivals, presenting them, doing Q&As about them, and also receiving awards for the films too. So that makes a statement in the film industry as well. When the students are in the film festival participating on a peer-to-peer level, and we haven't entered the film as an inclusive film, please let us plan your festival because we've done this inclusively. We enter the film, and then we get in, and then the story of how it has happened emerges. And that's how we create change as well. And we produce advocacy events. So we're really active in our film industry in Australia to create events that showcase the work of artists with a disability, artists from diverse communities. We recently had an advocacy event in partnership with the Australian Writers Guild, and the whole purpose of the event was to give writers the tools to be able to craft authentic characters with a disability, not to shy away from or be afraid of tackling subject matter, but to know how to tackle it in a way that is authentic and to consult with community to be able to showcase those stories on screen. If the writers aren't writing about disability, we're not going to see it on telly. So we wanted to actually reach out and go to the writers in our community and say, hey, tell these stories. Here is a panel of amazing filmmakers and actors with a disability. Ask them questions. Let's give you tools to give you the confidence to go away and create awesome characters. And we also planted this idea in their mind. why not just do blind castings? Just write the characters. Don't have a complete prerequisite of what they look like and how they should walk and talk. Why not get into the casting room, say to your casting agent, you know what? I want to be really open with this. Bring me interesting actors. Bring me diverse actors. I want to see what an actor can individually bring to this role, and maybe I will find something so incredibly fresh and surprising that it will give a whole new level of creativity to the project. So that is also what we encourage as well. We also talk with government. And I'm actively a participant of an Arts and Culture Advisory Board committee that advises our Minister for the Arts in the state of New South Wales on policy matters to do with the arts in my state. And we had the privilege of working with Screen New South Wales on Screenability. We were part of a key partnership, and we helped to spearhead, along with some other partners, this initiative, which basically gave 8 people with a disability paid internships at top Australian production companies. And that emerged out of some advocacy conversations that we had had previously with the organisation. So that was really exciting to finally see that come to fruition and see other production companies opening up their arms to giving those opportunities. So next I'm going to show a short clip about how we in my commercial business also love to create inclusion, not just in film, but in other creative ways. I personally believe that inclusion equals innovation and creativity. And when you just open up your mind to the possibilities of what individuals can bring to a project, the end product can be so fresh and so astounding. So I'm going to show you a little case study of a project that we did at my other business, Taste Creative. And we usually have a lot of synergy between Taste and Bus Stop. We'll usually bring Bus Stop students onto our commercial projects at Taste for paid work and work experience. And we try and keep that relationship there so that students can have that extra opportunity. And this was a really exciting project we were able to involve one of our students in. So I just want to give you a quick look at that.
Special Olympics Australia exists to create accessible sports training, coaching and competition opportunities so that people with an intellectual disability can reach their personal best in sport and in life. Every 4 years, Australia comes together for the largest sporting and humanitarian event in the country. Across 5 days, over 1,000 athletes with an intellectual disability compete in the Special Olympics Australia National Games. In 2018, the Games will be held in beautiful South Australia. Such a momentous event requires an equally momentous logo and brand identity to capture the joy of sport, the enthusiasm of Special Olympics athletes, and the celebration of ability while representing the host state, South Australia. Our task was to create a standout identity for the 2018 Special Olympics National Games in South Australia. We saw opportunity in taking an inclusive approach. Special Olympics is all about inclusion, so the creative process should be too. We wanted to help Special Olympics Australia walk the walk and demonstrate their commitment by helping them make history, the world's first inclusive logo. We partnered with renowned Sydney artist and long-standing friend of Taste Creative, Digby Webster. Known for his bold and colourful oil pastel and ink artwork, Digby is an artist who happens to have Down syndrome and who has had his work showcased in an impressive number of exhibitions across the country. Digby was tasked in producing his take on classic South Australian scenes such as the Brighton Beach Jetty, the Simpson Desert, Adelaide Hills Produce, the Flinders Ranges and the Barossa Valley. The 2018 Special Olympics National Games identity was then designed to encase his artwork in a silhouette reflecting the joy of the Games. The triumphant stance evokes imagery from many Special Olympics sports, such as athletes victoriously standing at the finish line, slam dunking a basketball, leaping for joy out of the pool, and also the athlete's coach and family cheering from the sidelines. the simple silhouette celebrates the joy, enthusiasm, and character of the Special Olympics. The new identity was created to stand out across all applications. The result? A vibrant brand identity which profiles a local artist and draws authentic connections to the heart of the Special Olympics. Without any media or PR budget, this world first attracted the attention of media across Australia. At Taste, we believe that inclusion always equals innovation and creativity.
Making movies is more than making money and trying to be famous and all the glitz and glamour.
Can I have a big round of applause?
Making films that celebrate the stories of those who have been marginalised. We give people the opportunity to be in the skin of someone else. Making movies can change people's lives.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. My name is Joni Campbell, and I'm a student from the Bus Stop Films Filmmaking class, run by Genevieve Clay Smith, and supported by Monica Power and Susan Trent. Tonight, I'll be talking to you about what we learnt about filmmaking and the process we went through to make our film Kill Off.
Are you sure it was the right room? I mean, maybe Danny made a mistake.
The first horror movie I watched was The Shining, which is an old film with what's his name? Jack Nicholson. I just loved that when they were playing that really intense music and you just didn't know what was going to happen next. And, you know, I loved how with his character, at first, like, he seemed really nice, but then as the movie and the storyline went on, you started to learn more about the character and learned that he wasn't so nice. And, yeah, just expecting the unexpected. That film really inspired me to want to work in the film industry.
I know sometimes with Joni, she's got such a wonderful eye for detail. She'll pick up things in movies that we're watching that I'm like, oh wow, I totally missed that. Do you know how that was happening in the background? And it's like, oh my gosh, this probably actually was really important to that scene and I totally missed it.
Film means like everything to me, you know. Not only do I love watching films, but I also love, you know, seeing sort of the behind the scenes, how they put it all together.
So this was for rhythmic gymnastics in 2009. That was for ASCA, so I did 2 speech programs. The first one is Speech for Life. Was like what the mainstream girls did.
She really enjoyed going to school. She liked being around other children. As she grew up, she would ask lots of questions. She always, I think, she knew enough to know that she didn't know things and wanted to know more, but didn't know how to phrase questions differently to get all the information she would need. So she would just ask the same things over and over again.
So I was actually 12 when I found out that I had a disability. So it's called a global development delay, so it's very rare, and it just means that I find it hard to understand things and sometimes I might need things repeated.
At first she thought it was something that she would recover from and she wanted to know when she would get better and when it would go away. And when we explained that no, it was something that would be with her forever, she was very cross and very angry.
It was quite a surprise at first and I didn't really understand what it meant to have a disability. You know, for so long I didn't understand why I was so different from my friends, and they would make fun of me because they didn't know why I was so different. They didn't know I had a disability either. So yeah, it was challenging.
After we saw her neurologist for the first time, she just looked at me and she said, "Oh, Mrs. Campbell, I know you may have dreams for your little girl on the stage doing ballet, but I think it's time to put all those away. You know, your daughter will not do those sorts of things." And I can remember I went outside and I sat in the gutter and I cried and I cried. And I got up and I thought, no, it's not going to happen. We are going to do everything we can to give her everything she deserves and so that she can be all that she can be.
It was really difficult to find a course after school. I wanted to do film, but I didn't know where to go. I felt a bit lost.
For Joni, courses and things that are designed for people with disability, it's either they're very simple and not interesting, or it's mainstream and it's so the gap is huge.
I've always felt there's been a really big missed opportunity for developing people with an intellectual disability. There's millions and millions of dollars that are pumped into service providers to create programs for people with an intellectual disability. A lot of these programs, there is no further educational factor to it. It might be an art program where it's just painting. For want of a better word, it is time-filling. That's a documentary we're going to release around mid-year. That's about our journey and our story and what we stand for. And just to close, I hope that everybody here is inspired to think more broadly about people's capabilities and what they can bring to the film industry. And when we actually open up our lives and are inclusive, that's where we can actually make some of the biggest change. For me, making a difference doesn't look like one person changing millions of lives. It looks like millions of us changing one person's life at a time. And we all have the opportunity to do that in this wonderful industry, the industry of storytelling. And in fact, our reach can go even further than just one person, because our audiences will also get impacted. So, thank you so much for your time. We're going to do a Q&A now with my beautiful student Joni, who you just saw in the documentary. And Lynn is going to moderate for us, so thank you so much.
Hi everyone, how are we all? Thank you for having us here in Toronto. Love it so much that I want to move here. Sydney's great, but Toronto's better.
So we don't have a lot of time, but I'd love to get to some questions if we can. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and please do wait for the microphone. And by the way, thank you for this beautiful presentation, and Joni, we're so glad that you could be here with us as well.
Hi, I was wondering if you have any thoughts on creating content for people with on the autism spectrum or for people with other disabilities.
I think people with disabilities engage in the same content as everyone else. I think that it's about, I mean, our students have very various intellectual disabilities, some with autism, some not. We just kind of treat these guys like anybody else. And I think when we start kind of compartmentalizing, we've got to do things for this way for this type of person and this way for this type of person, we can end up kind of losing the point a little bit. And I think it is, people engage with great stories. If you're going to create content for people, just create great content for people and they will engage with it. If you are wanting to create specific experiences like tactile experiences or like a digital online experience, then maybe that takes research. Maybe that takes going in and zoning into that particular community of people with autism and doing the market research of what do you want? What kind of tactile experiences would you like in engaging with content? What can we do specifically? And it might actually take some research, time, collaboration, getting involved in the community to draw that out. If that is something you are specifically interested in, that could be the pathway to how you end up doing something that's very, very specific to engage people through different sensory experiences.
Hi, Joni. What was really amazing, what I saw, is how you were so reflective and you thought about how certain events happened in your life. Can you tell us a little bit more how that journey happened and maybe how it changed as you were doing the film?
Sorry, could you just explain that question a bit more?
So as you were being interviewed, were there thoughts about your experiences that came to you? That you suddenly realized, oh, that was interesting, like my friendships, or...
So like when you've gone through the course, how was the journey? Like, did you feel like you transformed through the journey of making Kill-Off and some other films?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've transformed, like learnt a lot about myself, and I'm really strong on that just because you have a disability, it really shouldn't define who you are and stand in the way of your hopes and dreams. I mean, yes, I might have a disability, but I can do what everyone else can do. And yeah, that's something that I really learned, and I've loved Bus Stop. I've made so many great friends, Genevieve, her husband Henry, Hawa, and Sarah, and have made lots of friends that I'll have for life. And I really feel like it's a place where I belong. I think for so long in my life, because I had a disability, because I was different, I didn't feel like I belonged. But came to film and that all changed. I felt safe. I felt just like everyone else, and I was no longer that one person that was different.
What has been the impact in terms of the industry in Australia in terms of hiring people with disabilities to work on sets?
It's starting to shift now. So over the last couple of years is where I've seen the most amount of change, and particularly the Screenability internship program was one of the first big changes that I was finally asked by our funding body to come in and advise and talk about what do I see as a need. And I said, well, we need pathways for people with disabilities into the production companies. We can't just be thinking about the front, you know, who's on camera, we've also got to be thinking about who's behind. So it's starting to shift, and we're starting to, we've got an initiative now called Screenability, which is a funding program specifically for filmmakers with a disability through our Sydney Film Festival. It's like our Toronto Film Festival in Sydney. And we're finally getting that mainstream attention where, you know, the big film festival like Sydney Film Festival is going, we need to actually actively be programming films about disability and by people with disabilities as well. And we're starting to get other production companies, mainstream production companies coming to us and saying, can we do co-productions, which is fabulous. So it's kind of been just chug away, keep doing the thing, just keep doing the thing for so many years, and then boom, now the gates are opening and we're actually starting to see change, and we're not perfect yet, but it has begun. The first real steps of change have begun, and I can see so much hope, so much more hope now. And authentic casting is a big deal. You know, I get inundated with requests from casting agents saying, we really want to cast authentically. We want to cast a person with an intellectual disability in this role. We don't want to cast an able-bodied actor. Can you recommend? We've got a character who is blind. Can you recommend? We've got a character who's deaf. So, you know, the casting agents are starting to cotton on to the fact that authentic casting is really important. So finally, it's happening.
Hi, do you have any plans to model this in other countries? Because it's a great idea. It would be great if it's available here, so filmmakers such as myself, if I'm shooting a film, could, you know, have a place to go to bring some, you know, people on set to help out. So
the program itself, the 12-month program, which is basically like an accessible film studies university course, I do want to bring to different countries. And the first international project in Japan, which we did just at the start of the year, was very successful and showed me that it can work. So in terms of putting on a program and modelling it elsewhere, yes. But in terms of just being inclusive, you can just do that right now. Like on your very next film, just get involved in the disability community or other diverse communities. Just someone that won't have the same access as maybe, you know, like the privileged people out there. just look for the person, look for the people that don't have the access, that are on the back foot with access, and give them the opportunity. And it doesn't take much to say, what do you want to get out of making films? What's your vision for your life? They say, I want to be a cinematographer. Great, I'll give you a camera attachment. This is my cinematographer. Get some coffees before we start, and then just come on set and be a part of it. And it's just about teaching people. And it's actually, I mean, when I made my first inclusive film as a 19-year-old, Be My Brother, which ended up winning Tropfest, I just kind of did it. I didn't think about all the reasons why I shouldn't, or all the risks, I just did it. So when you just kind of go out on a limb, nothing bad can happen from being inclusive and talking about an opportunity with someone and asking them to be involved. I just think that, when you provide opportunities, in my 10-year experience, I've never had a backlash from someone getting an opportunity. So I just think you've kind of just got to kind of do it.
I have one question for you, Joni. Could I borrow your microphone for a moment? So obviously, with your participation with Bus Stop Films, you've had the opportunity to try out a number of different roles within the film productions. Which ones have you done, and what were your favorites and why?
Oh, good question. So the first project I worked on was a short film that we made a couple of years ago called Kill Off, and I got a bit of taste of everything. So I did directing with Genevieve. I also got a scene in front of the camera as well, so that was really cool to have the spotlight on me. And no, that was so much fun, just being on a set and seeing what it was like. And so we shot that down in Unandura, which is down in Wollongong. And so that was a fantastic experience. And then last year, worked with Hawa, who's down at the front. Everyone say hi to Hawa, she's down here. And with Sarah, and the documentary was called I'm Black and Beautiful. And into the lead up of the documentary, we watched a documentary called War Dance, which was about African refugees, and we sort of learned about their stories. We learned how to be sympathetic for other people, and that was totally different to the short film we made. And on that, I did directing again and did some special effects, got to work with the smoke machine, which was really, really cool. And first assistant director as well. And I love doing that because you get to tell everyone what to do. And I mean, who doesn't like bossing people around? So no, it's been fantastic, and I've really, really enjoyed it.
Great. You can keep that. I think we have a question.
Well, first of all, that what you guys are doing, it's amazing. And I was wondering, actually, as a production company, as Bus Stop Films is, what's the most challenging thing that you have faced as, like, to be included as an inclusive film production company, basically? Because that's also, like, hard to be included in the film industry.
Now that the changes started, we are being included, but there has been a long time where we've not really been on the radar, or we've kind of been seen as, that's different and interesting, or not too sure about that. That's nice. It's a nice thing to do. Which I absolutely despise, that kind of patronising tone. But now we're seen as game changers, which is awesome. But the biggest challenge has been, the biggest challenge for me was really in the first 5 years of the actual co-founding of the company. And when I just as a filmmaker had the vision of just making these films inclusively, I'd go and talk to people in the industry about my vision and get really not very encouraging feedback. For instance, I went to meet with a top Australian agent after I won Tropfest and told her about my vision for making inclusive films, and this is what we did with Be My Brother, and I'm making another short film, and I'm going to do that inclusively too, and I want to do this production company, not-for-profit idea with a film school and all this stuff. And she just looked at me and she said, I'm sorry, back up. You want to just keep making films about disability? Oh, your career is going to go into a downward spiral. You'll just be known as the girl that always makes films about Down syndrome, and that's all you'll ever do. And so that was actually literally the conversation that this agent had with a 21-year-old filmmaker. And that was the kind of attitudes I was coming up against. And so I kind of had the two choices. I could listen to that and try and follow a traditional pathway, or I could really be guided by my gut instinct, which was, this is the right thing to do, and there is something really important about this. And every time I faced that challenge of wanting to give up, because there were times where I wanted to stop, because it's not an easy road to run a not-for-profit organisation when you're also trying to make a living. And each time I came to that point, I would question myself and I would say, all right, say I do quit. What happens if I quit? What will happen if I quit? And the answer that always came back to me, I always received an answer in my gut, and it said, people will miss out. And that's what kept driving me.
I'm sorry we don't have time for any more questions, but I want to thank you guys again so much for the work that you do and for coming here to share the stories with us. If you are joining us for the cocktail and you have some more questions, perhaps people can speak to you downstairs. And I do want to let everyone know that if you checked your coat upstairs, the coat racks are now in front of these theaters. Is that right? Yes. So hopefully you can join us. And thank you guys once again so much.
So thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.